So at this stage we've got our IKs and our legs, and they work how we want them to, by grabbing the reverse lock joint root and moving it around, as you can see. What we do need to do now though is we need to name these IKs. You don't have to do it at this point to do it, you can do this beforehand if you remember from class. But what we do need to do, bring this out. So with this first one, this will be, because this controls our heel, this will be our heel. Okay. The next one will be our toe IK. Oh, nope. Right, remember this is remember that you need to remember what side you're actually naming. So I just accidentally put right when this is a left. So be aware of that. This is toe IK. And this is, that's it. Okay. And then we need to do the same on the other side. Remember, when you're selecting the IK, you want to select the little brown sticks, the handles. That's the only way to select it directly. So now we just have to go around and do the same. Cool. So the next thing we'll actually be making is our spline for our neck, our spine, so we can actually control the bend of the spine, and it won't look boxy or jagged. The movement will be very fluid. So we need to create our spline first by going to skeleton and IK spline handle tool, and if we just go to the option box, we can just to be safe, just click reset tool, and then to add our spline, S-P-L-I-N-E, we need to go from this root here, which is our spine 1, all the way up to spine 5. Yeah. So if you click spine 1, and then we click at spine 5, there you go. So then you get something that looks like this, where you've got the actual IK handle which goes from the top to the bottom, and if we look carefully we get two new curves. So we've got this curve here, and then we've got, if we could do, we've got a very faint another curve in there. Now what you'll notice with the spine is when we select it by the handle, we can't actually move it. Can't move it at all. I mean, we go to select our translate tool. No, we can't move it at all. Not even our rotate, and not even our scale. Oh, we can scale it, but we don't need to do that because that doesn't affect it. Okay, so we're just going to leave it like that at the minute, but we need to name it. So this will be our spine IK handle, and this is another IK that we won't be select, because obviously we can't move it around at the minute. We'll be using a control to move that around, which we did do in class using the clusters. So now that we've named that, we go now to make the arms. So we need to set the IKs up for the arms. So if you go to our IK handle tool and make sure it's a single chain solver, we want to go from the clavicle to the shoulder. So we're going to go from here to here. So we've got a working IK there. And let's add the same on this side as we're going along. There you go. Wonderful. So now we want to go back and change it to rotate plane. Now we want to go from shoulder, the arm joint, to the wrist joint, like that. And we want to do that on the other side. And remember to do this as a rotate plane. You can see there we've got our rotate plane gimbal. There you go, rotate plane gimbal there. Same for this one, rotate plane gimbal. We'll be putting the pole vectors on here, just like we're going to do for the knees. We're going to have a control on here which lets us control the angle of our arms. So we're going to do something a little bit different now that we've not done in class. We're actually going to move the IK handle here, which is it's an alright place to be, to the wrist. We don't want to have the handle on we don't want to bring the IK from the shoulder to the hand joint, because on here we'll be fixing some controls to control the hand, so that's why we're using this. But we do want to move this IK handle to the actual hand joint here. Now, this is where we should pay attention, take notes. We go to window with the IK handle selected that we're going to move, which is the. Actually, let's go ahead and name these first. So, we've got left arm IK, right arm, right arm IK, left shoulder IK, and right shoulder IK. There we go. So we should have our 2 shoulder IKs and our 2 arm IKs. Good. So, selecting our left arm IK first, go to window, and we want to go to Hypergraph hierarchy here. We don't need to click this option box, we just want to click on this. We'll then get up this window, which is our hypergraph, and this is an expanded view of basically our outliner here. This shows all our connections, everything in the scene and all what is connected to. But what we want to do is we want to actually isolate what we've got selected. So, with our arm selected, we click on this in the second box, the second button, the input output connections. We'll get this window, and this shows basically what the IK is adjoined to, what sort of solver it is, and an effector, which is what we move with, and then it goes into making the actual IK itself. This is all that is underneath the IK. Nodes, if you're familiar with nodes in Substance Paint or Unreal. So what we want to do is we want to select the effector, because that's all we want to move. And if we go into our scene, you'll notice the IK effector isn't actually highlighted anymore, but that's okay as long as inside the hypergraph effector 10 in this case is highlighted. So we want to control, we want to hold D and V. Remember, D is move manipulator and V is snap to vertex, and we want to grab the center. Don't grab any of the actual cardinal directions, any of the axis. We want to grab the center. We want to snap that to the wrist, and what that does is it moves the IK handle to the hand joint. Sorry, to the hand joint. So it still is rooted here, but the controller is here, and it still moves perfectly fine. So if we go over and select this one, go through the whole process again as practice. So make sure we have arm IK right selected, go to window, hypergraph hierarchy, and then input output connections. vector 11 in this case. I'm going to hold D and V to snap the vertex, and V. And then our new manipulator is there. So now that we've got that in place, we've got our, we're well on the way to getting our rig to the initial point of animation, or initial point of posing. So next we're going to actually do the controls, or set up the IKs I should say, for the head and the neck controls. And this is very straightforward. It goes along the same principle as the foot controls, the foot RLJ setups we got down here, along the same sort of lines, where we actually we want to create the handles for control for the neck and the head area. So going back to our trusty IK tool, double click to bring up the settings box, go to single chain because we have no rotation, and then we want to click on the neck joint, which is above the spine 5, neck to head, and then and then we go from head to head top, and we want to name those neck IK and head.